It's time for one of football's most intense rivalries. We're talking about the Manchester Derby this weekend. Ruben Amorim has a chance to make a statement. Big win, big opportunity, could be a defining moment in what is his tenure here as United's manager. Today we're breaking down the 4 keys to victory for Amorim in his first battle with Pep Guardiola as Manchester United's manager and against the blue side of Manchester. Let's dive in. First up, we have to hit on City's fullbacks, or the lack of them. Guardiola has been playing much more center as a center back, while he's probably better as a left back for Manchester City and how they'd want to play and kind of the opportunities he puts on that left-hand side. He's just not really going to get those opportunities, especially given the injury situation at Manchester City right now. Also, you have to take into account Rico Lewis is out with a red card. Are we going to see him with his suspension? Obviously not. Kyle Walker's going to have to play on that right-hand side. Do we see a youth player step into that center back role? Do we see a midfielder drop deep into that center back position? Do we see somebody else playing out at left back that maybe we didn't even expect to be playing as a left back for Manchester City? It's going to be very difficult to see. Kyle Walker, he's still pretty quick, but let's face it, he's not the unstoppable player that he once was when he first joined Manchester City in these last, first however many years, about until the treble winning season when he kind of started to see that decline in his career. With, of course, Lewis suspended, as I mentioned, City might be forced into a back three with a center, Gvardiol, Ruben Diaz, Kyle Walker, center back partner trio, United's attacking wingbacks really have an opportunity to stretch the pitch for Manchester United this weekend. Amad Diallo, Diego Dalot could truly wreak havoc on the flanks. The question is, can they really exploit this mismatch? We've seen a lot of struggles for Manchester United so far this season. Now we have to talk about the engine of United, that midfield base where they've been playing with a 6 and an 8, kind of maybe 2 8s, 2 6s, however you want to talk about it, and how they really play. We have to talk about how they're going to progress the ball. Ugarte, he's a destroyer in midfield. He's going to break up play. He's going to kind of cut out transitions. He's going to make tackles. He's going to make interceptions. But he's not a ball progressor. Manu, he's promising, but if he's got to pass the ball, he's not there. But he is a good carrier of the ball. So really, you have to ask yourself, so what's the solution for United? Amorim has a few options. He could drop Bruno deeper alongside Manu and let Mount operate as a creative 10, which we saw in the Manchester United versus Arsenal game. Didn't quite work out. Bruno doesn't really function well in the deeper parts of midfield. You see him kind of with that freedom of being a 10. I think that's where he'll play. We could see Mount drop into that 8 position, potentially. Do I think it will happen? Not very likely. But, or you could go in, maybe slide in a player like Casemiro if you really need to. Casemiro and Manu is a midfield partnership we've seen often. Obviously prior to this season, and then you can have the opportunity if you need to break up play late in the midfield. Ugarte then can come in and lock down the match in midfield. If United grab the lead, we could see that. We could definitely see that. A Casemiro, Ugarte, Manu midfield if we take off Bruno, and then you kind of give Manu a little bit more license to roam in the front and kind of try to progress the ball with his carrying ability. The midfield battle will truly decide this game. I don't know what City's midfield is going to look like. We've seen kind of, all sorts of different combinations there. I think we even saw Jack Grealish playing more centrally recently for City. Who's going to be playing as the 6/8 opportunities there for United to exploit that inconsistency in the midfield of Manchester City. What are we going to see? That's really the question for Manchester City this week. What is this team going to look like? They just recently lost 2-0. They got shut out against Juventus. And then, of course, a draw to Crystal Palace. They're only one win in 10. It's looking really, really dark for Manchester City. But this is a game where you expect them to turn up. Will they turn up for this Manchester Derby? I hope so for the quality of the game, but I'm not banking on it. Up next, we have to talk about defenders. We're putting defenders in the spotlight here for Amorim. United's running with a back three, obviously under Ruben Amorim and his system. We've seen probably their most, consistent and maybe best quality trio of center backs is Mazraoui, De Ligt, and Martinez. If they're going to win this game, those are going to have to be the 3 top performers for the match. In the 2 games that he's won or excuse me, now 3 games. I'm pretty sure today, I'm recording this the day they played in the Europa League that they won. I believe it was the same trio, but they did win the 2 games before that, including a 4-0 just demolition of Everton. Can they repeat the dominance against players like Haaland and Foden and Grealish and De Bruyne and Savinho and Doku? I don't know. But if this backline holds, United could be on their way to a statement win. It's obviously a very uphill battle right now for Ruben Amorim. There's really, a lot of challenges this team's facing. There's even reports coming out about players leaking out lineups early. I'm not going to get into all of that. If you've been on Twitter, you've seen the names being thrown around as well as some creators, which I'm not even going to talk about the creator side of it either, just because that is unreal where likes matter more than the team you support. But that's all. I'm going to leave it at there. But let's go ahead. Let's move on to key number 4, City struggles. Finally, we have to talk about what's quickly becoming an Achilles heel for Manchester City. Their inability to finish chances when Erling Haaland isn't firing. They've got one of the best strikers probably in world football right now, but he's slowed down. And, you throw on a misfiring Foden, you throw on an aging Kevin De Bruyne, and you've got a really, really struggling attack that just doesn't have any rhythm to it. And that's kind of the case right now for City. Are they going to be able to come through and, get firing and use this as a game to bounce back and maybe try to go on the trot and win 3, 4, 5, 6 games on the bounce? I don't think so right now, just because there's so many inconsistencies in this team. Whether it's the finishing, whether it's the lineups, whether it's the defending, whether it's the performances, it's very inconsistent. Pep Guardiola said that he was happy with the way the team played. They were just unfortunate with the result. They lost 2-0 to Juventus, a very bad Juventus team, mind you, a team that I think is like 4th in the table. I think they've only lost 1-2 league games. If they've even lost one, Juve may not have even lost a league game, but they've been drawing games left, right, and center. If I go take a quick look at the Serie A table, yeah, Juve still yet to lose a game, but they've drawn 9 out of 15 matches. And that's just how bad this Juve team is that they are losing to. But there you have it. Attack City's flanks, win the midfield battle, rely on that, center back trio that you have, and let City's wastefulness be their downfall. The Manchester Derby isn't just another game. We know that anything can happen on that pitch in those 90 minutes. But if Ruben Amorim follows this blueprint that I've talked about today, I think that they could come away victorious in this matchup. Let me know what you think. Can United pull it off in the comment section down below? Give me a score prediction. I'm going to go with... I almost want to pick a United win. I've kind of convinced myself at this point. I'm actually going to go 2-2 City and United draw 2-2. Draws are boring, though. You know what? 2-1 United. We're going 2-1 Manchester United to win this game. I think that City is just too inconsistent right now, despite the quality that they have. But anyways, guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Like the video as well if you enjoyed it. Hit that notification when you subscribe so you don't miss another video just like this one. We like to do breakdowns. I've already broken down Arsenal's $200 million transfer January window that we've talked about, and then we've got $150 million dollar transformation for Manchester City I've talked about as well. So go check those out on the channel. But until next time, see ya. Peace.